After 5 years of reviewing new cars, we finally got BMW to agree to send us one. I'm super excited to talk all about it. This is Out Motorsports, the channel for cars as you are. My name is Jake, and I am here with a brand new BMW. I'm so pumped because I've owned 9.5 BMWs myself. The half is my brand new Toyota Supra that's just a Z4, and my counterpart Tyler has had 5 of his own. So we've got a lot of experience with older BMWs, everything from the E30, the E34, the E36, up to more modern stuff like the E82 1 Series and the newer 2 Series models. So we're very excited to have this thing, but we asked for one, and I truly asked for it, that is very different from everything we've ever known. That's right, it's this. It's the big bucktooth 2024 BMW iX. This is a 610 horsepower, 749 pound-feet of torque, crossover-y, wagony, hatchy thing with a strange hatchback opening shape and a strange nose and secondary Rolls-Royce Cullinan-esque taillights, and it is indeed the furthest thing from an E30 BMW of the late 1980s, but frankly, we asked for it. BMW had a few different cars in the DC area fleet, and honestly, this is the one that I was the most curious about. So let's talk about what this thing is and then what we're gonna do with it, because this is not my old BMW. This is not even my newer BMWs, and it's certainly not anything that Tyler's ever owned, but there's a lot to like here, I think. So the BMW iX. These have been on sale for a couple years, and a lot of people have had a very visceral reaction to the styling, myself included. I really don't think it's very pretty from the front or the rear, although the rear is at least the better end of it all. It's kind of minivan-ish, it's kind of pear-shaped, it's got big hips, but like not in a cute way to me. Anyway, it's fast, it's also heavy, it's 5,679 pounds, it's kind of par for the course with a lot of EVs about this size. It's an interesting size. It's kind of X3 sized, although I thought it was more X5 sized before I got it. It's a 2-row crossover, it's got decent luggage space, it's got a decent second row. Everything is, you know, family car-esque here. This one is the iX M60, so it's the faster of the 2 models, and like I said, plenty of horsepower, plenty of torque. It's good for a 3.6 second 0 to 60 despite the curb weight, but this is still not being sold as like a full-on M car. This is kind of an M Sport, if you will. So it does have the optional 22-inch wheels, it has 4-corner air suspension, it has blue painted brake calipers, but the brakes themselves are the same as the iX 50 or whatever it's called. So it's you know, more of a luxury over sport sort of deal. If you look inside, it's got a kind of pretty interior, frankly. It's got the luxury package that gives you this wood and crystal shifter center console deal that I actually like quite a bit. The seats are pretty, they're this mocha color, but they're not aggressively bolstered. They don't have the extendable thigh bolsters. They're very much the old school comfort seats, if you will, from the 80s and 90s. It's kind of that mentality here. So this is meant to be a luxury product first and foremost, but it's a BMW. They still use the tagline on the window sticker, the ultimate driving machine, even though that's not totally their slogan anymore. So I figured it had to be pretty decent to drive. Now it's also got rear wheel steering back here, so that might help it in the corners, and that is exactly what we did with it. So I got a couple friends. We had to pre-run our route for our July road rally in the Shenandoah Valley of Virginia. There's some excellent roads out there, and we said, hey, let's put the iX to the test. So we're gonna get behind the wheel and head out a couple hours away from the DC area, and we're gonna rip on this thing in the mountains a bit and see how it does. Now before we do, we have to talk about the battery, the charging, all that sort of stuff, because everyone wants to know what you can do with an electric car in that regard. People still have range anxiety, blah, blah, blah. So this has a 109 kilowatt hour battery, and that's good for what BMW says is 274 miles of range. In reality, I've been seeing higher range than that on the guessometer on the dashboard, but obviously, based on how you're driving, that's going to vary. Now, charging speed is good. It does up to 195 kilowatts according to BMW. Thankfully, on the drive to and from the Shenandoah Valley, there is a DC fast charger that will do up to 350 kilowatts of speed, so we can test out just how fast this thing is charging. And in our testing, it got right about 200 kilowatts, so exactly what they say it will do. So with all that, I know plenty of people have talked about the iX before, and you know, I've kind of written it off for the last couple years just because I don't like how it looks. And really, a lot of newer BMWs, they've lost the plot for me. But regardless of styling is very subjective. If you think this thing is the most beautiful new car on sale, more power to you. And you know, there's other new BMWs that I think are a lot better. So either way, styling is so subjective. Handling and ride quality and driving dynamics and all that are a little bit less so. We can actually measure those and talk about them. And I really like anything that drives well, that is more oriented for a driver than just pure serenity and isolation from the road. So let's get behind the wheel, let's get down to the Shenandoah Valley, and let's see how this big electric, totally different from anything I've ever known BMW does on some back roads.
Oh, okay.
All right, she's quick.
Yeah.
So, all right, we're on some back roads that we are going to be using for our Shenandoah Impress Me Much road rally here in a few months. I've got Garrett and Jeremiah with me, two of my girls that are going to be helping with the driver out. And I've heard this car handles well, so we're going to figure that out now. So we're on some really, really nice roads here. I've got it in Sport, and I've got it in B for the extra regen braking, so I can just kind of use one pedal and drive this thing. So this has rear wheel steering, by the way, which we may or may not feel here, but
Are we supposed to be feeling panic?
Panic from my driving or from the road or
Yes.
what? Yes.
Yes. The answer is yes.
It seems to handle all right. It's flat, like cornering's flat. Little oversteer there. Y'all feel that from the back?
Just a slight bit.
Yeah.
A little hop.
What do we think of ride quality?
It's very smooth and very quiet.
Yeah, it's been good on the highway. That was really good.
Definitely a highway cruiser.
This weighs under 6,000 pounds, but it's still heavy. Big old brakes, but this does not give you bigger brakes, being the M. Tire squeal. Oh, it's oversteery though, that's fun. And in this sport mode it makes silly sounds. Oh, those tires don't like this.
They don't like it.
And they are plenty
at all.
warm.
Yes.
Yeah, they are. That's crazy.
Oh, goodness. Do you feel the rear steer?
That is nuts.
This is wild. I mean, it's handling smaller than it is, I think. And the brakes feel good. I know you all can't feel the brakes, but like the blending of regen with the pedal is nice.
There's no old lady handle over here.
Oh. Well, we need one of those for you. Yeah, this is like doing better than I thought it would, I guess. I was telling you guys on the drive down here, it felt like, I thought this was a bigger car than it is, and it's, you said it feels small in the back, right?
I just expected the interior to have more space, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
It's not small, it's not cramped, it's just not as big as the outside looks to me.
Yeah, we were kind of like debating if this feels as big inside as like an X5 or if it's a little more X3. I mean, you look like you've got enough room back there.
I have enough room. So it's interesting because I feel like, I don't know, maybe it's just the layout of the interior or something. Like, 'cause it's definitely wide enough, it's long enough, but I feel more in the X3. I was in an X3 yesterday,
Okay.
and I feel like I was more in the X3 versus, as we talked about, me being on this car.
In
If
the
that
back,
makes sense. Yeah,
right.
even in the back seat. Like,
But
I
see, in the
just-
front seat, I think these seats are more like scalloped and comfortable, which like you've been fine.
Once I figured out how to adjust it.
Right, right. A lot of controls. I do wish the front seats had the roll-out thigh bolsters that other BMWs have, but this is kind of a, like, it's not a full-on M car. It's an M Sport is kind of how they're selling it, I think.
Does this have a third row?
No.
Oh, I thought it did. On the
No.
outside, it looks like it would.
That's what,
It looks like
a
chunky on the
big
outside.
Car. That's
Yeah,
what I'm saying.
it looks like a
That's why
minivan.
I
Right.
expected the interior to be maybe more minivan-like.
Yeah, I think the styling kind of gives it that, but it's not that.
It's giving me first-gen Honda Odyssey Isuzu Oasis vibes.
BMW's gonna love hearing that.
From the outside,
Yeah. You built an electric Isuzu Oasis. Congrats.
Actually, that's funny. Because
It
I
is.
can't unsee that.
Yeah.
The very first gen, though, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I got the 4 doors.
Mm-hmm.
I do like the fact that speaking of the doors, like the window sills are pretty low. The dash is low. I can see out of it pretty good.
Great visibility. I love these little side windows that let you see by the side view mirror.
Yeah, you get really good visibility, like at a corner if you're in the city or something.
Especially with all the pedestrians we have and cyclists and everything else.
Right, not on these roads, but in DC.
Yeah.
I'm okay with this whole wood control panel iDrive nonsense. I shouldn't say nonsense. The iDrive has been okay. There's a lot of options to deal with, but once you figure it out, it's not bad.
It's very pretty with its crystal.
Yes, well, this is upgraded. The wood and crystal is an upgrade package.
There's a drag name in there somewhere.
Welcome to the stage, Crystal iDrive dial. And this has the Bowers & Wilkins sound, which we haven't really like cranked, but I have without you all in the car. And it's got a subwoofer under each of the 4 seats, and then it's got these like bass things in the front seats that like shake your seat, so you don't have to have the music turned up as loud to have bass, which I think is interesting. So is that as fast as you think like 600 something horsepower should be? That was floored.
Ooh, that's
an overheating Grand Cherokee. Oh dear.
Yeah.
I think it's about as fast as I think
For
it
as big
should
of a
be.
car it is, yes.
It's definitely getting my heart beating.
Yeah. These tires don't like what I'm doing.
At all.
The handling is good though. I really, and the steering. This is all very BMW, which is nice that you can tell they've like BMW-ified an electric car.
Okay.
Things we don't like. Other
The back
than
seat.
Okay, yeah, we talked about the back seat. The doors are soft closed, but we noticed earlier they don't sound very good.
Yeah, they have a little chintzy sound to them.
Yeah, they're kind of hollow. If you slam them. If you soft close them, they're fine.
The styling is very polarizing.
Yeah, I don't like it. I know some people really love it. A couple people told me it like grew on them a lot, which I guess I can see. That's happened with other stuff.
It's not the worst. It is something that takes some getting used to. I don't hate it like I used to hate it.
It's a different design direction than I miss old BMW.
Yes.
But if they kept selling cars that looked like the 80s and 90s BMWs, they wouldn't sell any cars.
Right.
So
This thing is actually...
it's handling. I mean,
It's way
I'm not
more-
really working it very hard.
I was just about to say, it's...
It sounds like you're working it very hard.
It's just the tires.
Just the tires. But they're not losing grip though.
No, there's plenty of grip.
They're not losing grip.
The rear steer, it's taking these tighter corners pretty easy. The brakes feel good. It doesn't feel under braked at all, which is nice because now we're on this downhill that like really tests brakes. I'm impressed with how it drives.
I am too, actually, from the back seat.
Here we got one more big corner here. Brakes feel good. Yeah, I mean, it's just nice and flat. It's got this air suspension, which I think helps some, and we are in that sport mode. The sounds are so silly.
They are so ridiculous.
Let me put it in what was the silliest mode we thought? Expressive.
Expressive.
Okay, so it's got these different drive modes, and if you change them, it changes the fake sounds it makes. So this is now expressive.
It sounds like a train.
It sounds like a horn.
Yeah, it's so silly. It is easy. As much as I hate touch controls, these are kind of haptic here, and these are easy enough to deal with. The buttons you push are like raised, so you can find them, and then the volume knob is raised as well. So, I think yeah, in general, this is like maybe more impressive than we thought it would be.
Now it's fun.
We like it.
I like it.
I think for what it is, I actually like it.
A day trip, I'm thoroughly enjoying myself.
Yeah.
It's still honking though.
On the slowdown, yeah, okay, if I lift. It sounds like a train.
It sounds just like a train.
Okay.
Can people outside the car hear this?
No, I
noise?
think it all plays it through the speakers here.
Okay.
And then out there, it just plays whatever the like pedestrian noise is at slow speeds.
Okay.
And now we're in efficient, which just sounds like No, it turns the sound off. Okay. I like that one. I like electric cars to just sound like electric cars. But
yeah,
the silliness is fun.
Not every car can be everything.
Correct. I think for what this is, if you can be okay with the styling and the interior volume, because that's definitely something that's like a little off from what we all thought it would be, I get the appeal of it, which is not something I would have said a week ago before it had showed up.
And the price.
And the price. And the price. It's expensive, but all this stuff is expensive right now.
True.
And so that's the BMW iX, and I'm actually really pleased that I ended up liking it, because I came into this thinking, I don't like the styling, it's another EV, it's just gonna be blah, how do you make it feel like a BMW, how do you make it whatever? And you know, you can tune that all in with how the thing handles, how it accelerates, all the silly little sounds it makes, all the everything. Styling does play a part, and I still don't like the styling of this, and I hope BMW goes in a different styling direction in the future, and I think they're going to, because these have really been met with a lot of mixed opinions, at least from what I've seen. But regardless of that, I'm glad that this exists as more of a driver's car, if you will, than some of the other options on the market. So with all that, thank you as always for coming along. Be sure to like, share, comment, subscribe right here on YouTube. Tell me how right or wrong I am about this car and my opinions on it, and let me know what you think of the styling, because I really think it's pretty divisive, but some people they've said it's grown on them. So let me know what you think. Otherwise, follow us on Facebook and Instagram and maybe Twitter, if it still exists these days. Head over to outmotorsports.com. We've got a whole community of LGBT automotive enthusiasts over there and motorsports competitors that would love to be your new best friends. We're hosting events on the street, like I said, for this event here in July. We've got one in the Midwest in June. We've got one in the Poconos in the fall. And we've got some stuff at racetracks too. So we've got competition in Willow Springs in August and at Summit Point in September here on the East Coast. So with all that, please stay safe, be well. See you for the next one.